Executives from Snapchat, TikTok, and YouTube testifying on Capitol Hill and defending their platform's influence on young children.
When it comes to protecting minors, we work to create age-appropriate experiences for teens throughout their development.
We make no effort and have no plans to market to young children.
Our child safety-specific policies prohibit content that exploits or endangers minors. We are constantly working to improve our safeguards.
This comes as Facebook faces backlash over their reported knowledge of Instagram's harmful effects on teenage users' mental health. Our next guest is a former Facebook employee who warns big tech is targeting your children and its big businesses. Research fellow for technology policy at the Heritage Foundation, Kara Frederick, joins us now. Good morning, Kara.
Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. As a former Facebook employee, you know what happens behind the scenes. Do you agree with what they're saying? Are they putting safeguards in place to protect our kids?
I think there are degrees of gradation here, but when you think about the priorities of these companies, I'll offer a data point from Facebook that I think is particularly sobering for American families. And that is over 90% of monthly active users of Facebook are outside the United States and Canada. So if that gives American families a clue as to what is top of mind for them, it isn't apple pie, it isn't American families, it isn't American values. They are looking outside of the country. They are looking at other things to develop their growth. And what I think is particularly important here is that preteens, there's a Pew survey in 2020, preteens, 30% of them use Snap and 30% of them use TikTok, 22% of them use Snapchat. This was the first time that TikTok executives and Snap executives were on the Hill. It should not be the last. We need accountability from them too.
Yeah, it's hard because parents don't always know what their kids are seeing when they use their phones. TikTok, 1 billion monthly users, 62% between the ages of 10 and 29. Some of these lawmakers and parents are concerned about eating disorders, exposure to sexually explicit content, and to material promoting addictive drugs. If you look at the front cover, Kara, of the New York Post this morning, it shows pictures that you'll find on social media and shows anorexic girls, super skinny legs, bony hands. And if you read the article, it says Facebook's own researchers, which owns Instagram, found that Instagram barrages teenage girls who are anorexic with videos and photos of other afflicted girls who are super skinny. Is this true?
Yeah, and when it comes to the algorithm and putting forward incendiary content, yeah, absolutely, it encourages people to see more and more things that are extreme. So TikTok, I would focus on too, specifically when it comes to this. A lot of doctors in Australia, in America, in Canada, in the UK, they saw teen girls developing these tics. The Wall Street Journal reported on this, and the tics, the breeding ground for health issues, what they had in common was TikTok. So all these teen girls were looking at TikTok, and now doctors are seeing an uptick in Tourette's-like tics and those kinds of syndromes. So none of this is good. In particular, I think TikTok is a wolf in sheep's clothing. It comes to you in the guise of cute little dance videos, but the reality is more sinister, and parents need to stand up and say enough is enough. There's a role for civil society and grassroots to play here. Parents are the key.
TikTok made $34.3 billion last year. Real quickly, Kara, how old should our kids be before we let them go on social media?
Oh, I would advise you put the devices down. Wait until their consciences are fully formed. They're individuals who can make better decisions when their souls are bolstered. So as late as possible, if at all.
Thank you so much, Kara.
Thanks, Ainsley.
You're welcome. 7:56 here on the East Coast. It's a shipping nightmare before Christmas, and the Biden administration could be left holding
Albies stolen base last night. Everybody in America will get a free Taco Bell taco on Thursday.
Next Thursday.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, this is brilliant. I mean, do you give away? Because no one goes to Taco Bell for one taco.
Right. You're going to get more.
I like my free one, and then you said, well, Uncle Steve, Aunt Sally, the three kids,
in the back
cousin.
seat.
Next thing you know, that one free taco is a boon for Taco Bell.
And it'll take 75 tostadas.
Absolutely. And by the way, they did a study. Taco's great for you.
And
they are delicious.
Anything free.
Right.
It resonates with the American people, right?
Especially now.
That's right. The Braves won last night 6-2. The second game is tonight, and Will Kane is live outside of Minute Maid Park in Houston after the Braves won. Good morning to you, Will.
Good morning, Ainsley. Yeah, there's a lot of smart people out there, as it turns out, Brian. Taco Bell, pretty smart promotion. Get everybody in, buy not one, but buy maybe 4 or 5 tacos. I was thinking about yesterday. You remember we had Mattress Mac on here in Houston. He's placed the largest futures bet in history. So he put a $3 million bet down.
Right.
That could pay $36 million, but he has a promotion going. If you buy a mattress here in Houston and the Astros win, you get it for free. So smart, right? Offsetting his bet. It's a smart hedge, just like Taco Bell. Not so smart, or not so cute, or not so successful for the Astros last night. The Braves did jump out right in the first inning. The game was over by the 3rd inning. They won 6-2. First inning home run by Jorge Soler set the pace. They lost. The Braves did, though. Charlie Morton, the starting pitcher, to a broken leg in the 3rd inning. So they'll have to go on in this series without him in the rotation, and the Astros bats will come alive, which I think means we might have a long series on our hand. We'll be back here again, by the way, Game 2, right here, Minute Maid Park. Astros and Braves
how will the
tonight
Braves
on
do?
Fox.
How will they do without Charlie as the pitcher?
Well, they have some other pitchers. They're not incredibly deep. Neither bullpen, by the way, Astros or Braves, are one of the best bullpens in Major League Baseball. But we'll see, Ainsley. We'll see if they can get by without their number one starting
I just
pitcher.
feel bad for Joe Bach. He's got to do football and baseball, and he's having too much fun.
Well, and let's just hope tonight you'll be able to see Game 2 on Fox at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Let's hope somebody wins us some more food.
Right, and let's
Brian,
just hope
send him a sympathy card.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Right, and thanks to Taco Bell, one of our biggest advertisers here on Fox.
And special thanks to Will Kane for showing us how much fun he doesn't even hide it. He says, I'm there to have fun, to high five and talk to fans.
It's a great assignment.
It's fantastic.
Absolutely.
It's a lot of fun. Let's talk about what's happening out in California. Those 2 ports where we're expecting to get all of our Christmas gifts and everything that's coming from China and from Vietnam. They're still having problems out there, even though the president did say 24/7 they're going to be working. But on yesterday, there were 105 vessels that were still anchored and waiting. On Monday, there were 107. And there's a big shortage of these truck drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we know that there are problems with the truck drivers, but we had Daryl Issa on last week, and he said the real problem was with the longshoremen and the unions, and it's getting them to work harder to get the stuff off. So even though Joe Biden last week said the ports are going to be open 24/7, there are so many hours in a day where nobody shows up to have stuff offloaded. The president also said last week that he was thinking about having the National Guard, calling out the National Guard to drive, and people are going, okay, that's a great idea. The next day, the White House walked that back and said, you know what, we're not actually thinking about using the National Guard. Meanwhile, Goldman Sachs.
But meanwhile, he works at the White House. He should have known that, but I still don't know why that's a bad idea. This is an emergency situation.
Anytime you call out the National Guard, there's a whole bunch of stuff that kicks in. Obviously, he feels like he's got a handle on it. They apparently are meeting once a week now.
Yeah, he's doing great.
But the point is, it's not getting any better. And Goldman Sachs, the big investment bank, said there is little chance the cargo crunch will resolve in the next couple of months. In fact, they say by the middle of next year, we might see some relief.
Just when we thought we were getting better with the pandemic and the numbers were getting more under control, then we are experiencing this.
But it's our fault because we order too much stuff as Americans.
Some of it's like chemotherapy medicine.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe the Atlantic was wrong and insensitive with that story, but go ahead.
It's still frustrating and something we're not used to when you can't get toilet paper or when you see empty shelves. The company Hasbro, the toy maker, says the supply chain chaos has stopped them from delivering $100 million worth of toys this year.
Well, they were supposed to get it in September. It was delayed. They wanted to put it on the shelf for Christmas. And so when they were reporting their quarterly earnings, they go, we had $100 million worth of stuff stuck on those ships. As you look at the toy stores, you know, a lot of parents are going, I'm going to have to buy stuff early. And Kamala Harris, I believe it was during the month of July, said you should be buying stuff in July for Christmas.
All right. By the way, you know it's an emergency when the New York Times has a story. It's so bad, Biden's top advisors are meeting at least once a week. Wow.
Right.
No, I'm usually around the clock. Get them a fireman's pole. They're not wasting any time on stairs. It's an emergency. All hands on deck. Meanwhile, the truckers who are asked to do so much for so long with so much on their shoulders, and they're 80,000 people down, trucks down. Here's what Dale Brown and Jim Ward, told Fox and Friends First this morning.
Requirements, however well-intentioned, we certainly know are going to continue to put further disruptions and strains on the supply chain. Through an industry survey that was recently completed, it appeared that about 50% of our commercial drivers have not been vaccinated. And of that 50%, about 37% have basically said that should they be forced into having to be vaccinated, that they would consider leaving the industry.
I don't see where I need the vaccine. I mean, I've already had COVID. And from what I understand, the natural immunity is better than the vaccine to start with. And like he said, driver shortage, when they start pushing this mandate, they're going to start dropping out. It's going to happen.
And so what they're talking about is they're talking about Joe Biden's mandates, which are going to kick in about a month from now. And the worry is a lot of these drivers are the drivers who are going to bring not only toys and stuff like that, they're going to bring chemo medicine and stuff like that to all of us. And so there are a number of retail and trucking groups who are asking the OMB, they're having meetings with them, they're saying, hey, could the administration pump the brakes and have a 90-day pause so those mandates don't kick in until February? Because if it hits before the holidays, it will not be a good Christmas.
Well, hopefully Taco Bell can get all the materials they need to make these tacos by next Thursday.
Yeah, the mandates, if they do not listen, if the OMB doesn't listen, they deserve what they get. This is another self-inflicted wound. 15% of almost every industry is reluctant for whatever reason to get the shot. So you're telling them you're fired, you're finished, you're through. Teachers, firefighters, cops, medical workers, anybody contracted with the U.S. government, because Joe Biden will sit there and say, I want everybody vaccinated. How dare you not? Meanwhile, at 8 minutes after the hour, let's talk about what's going to take place today. Major hearing. If it's anything like what happened in the House last week, it's going to happen this week. Front and center, the Attorney General, Merrick Garland.
Yeah, he's going to testify today before the Senate. And parents are really concerned about what he was saying, basically referring them as domestic terrorists. And the School Board Association wrote that in their memo, their letter to him, and wanted the Patriot Act. They were referring to the Patriot Act. And he said, I never actually said domestic terrorists, but he did call in the FBI. And the School Board Association's apologized now, but he has not. And he's still saying that the FBI might need to be needed in some of these situations. You've got that young girl who was assaulted by the boy in the skirt in the bathroom in Virginia. And the parents are really upset about it. They want an apology from Barack Obama because he said this about the curriculum.
We don't have time to be wasting on these phony, trumped-up culture wars, this fake outrage that the right-wing media peddles to juice their ratings. That's not what you need, Virginia. Instead of forcing our communities to cut back at a time when we're just starting to recover, we should be doing more to support people who are educating our kids and keeping our neighborhoods safe.
So while he was in Virginia over the weekend talking about, the McAuliffe-Youngkin race, he talked generally about the schools and things like that. Ian Pryor, who's been on this program, he's one of the parents who's very concerned about what's going on out in Loudoun County. He said, I don't think Barack Obama has a clue what's going on in Loudoun County public schools. He demonstrated just how clueless he was by making this statement, the one we just played for you right there. It's clear that all the star power coming in for Terry McAuliffe is reading off the same deceptive page of sheet music with talking points designed to deceive people as to what's really happening in Virginia public schools, and specifically Loudoun County.
And as I said earlier, it's one of the rare times that Barack Obama's political instincts have failed him, or he just has not been paying attention. This is real. This is organic. This is not scripted. These are people standing up, Democrats and Republicans standing up and for what's happening in their schools. And I just one quick thing with Merrick Garland. I was surprised over the weekend when those Board of Education union members said, listen, we were wrong. We were wrong to put domestic terrorists in that letter. And we didn't even check with the board. Just the two of us wrote it. Right. By the way, the woman, Viola Garcia, ends up joining the Biden administration. So why not Merrick Garland, if he is smart and doesn't want to be filleted today, open up verbally, open up and just say, upon the new revelations that happened this weekend, yes, I think it was a mistake to mobilize the FBI.
You'll never say that, because then it would make it seem like the DOJ had been politicized a week ago,
but
2 weeks ago, when they said it initially. He's not going to come anywhere close to any sort of an apology.
Well, he was in response to a letter which they say was wrong and they apologized for, so he could honestly say, listen, in light of this new information, I would like to apologize because Senator Josh Hawley's coming after him and everybody else on the Judiciary Committee because he is so vulnerable on this, as well as being ethically
Well, and
compromised.
think about this young lady who was assaulted in the bathroom. The man was the young boy. His name's not being released because he's so young. Was convicted, but then they
16,
pushed him to another school where he allegedly did it again. That's still going through the court system before he'll get sentenced. But the young lady, think about in high school, everyone knows, her parents are speaking out, they know who this girl is. She's probably has a lot of friends probably in the high school, and many of them in Loudoun County decided to participate in this walkout yesterday. Right. They decided to walk out of the classroom, standing in alliance with
So it's not a trumped-up culture war.
This girl. Exactly. Right. So one of the parents was on, I believe, on Jillian's show, Fox and Friends First, earlier, and this is what she said, why her daughter participated.
I don't think she was excited to become an activist because a lot of teenagers don't want the pressure. They don't want their peers to have judgment on them. I think she realized when this happened so long ago and people are just finding out about it, it really struck her. Her friends and her and many other kids felt really blindsided, betrayed, that this is happening in our schools. And why didn't they know about it?
And when she says, why didn't we know about it? There are also calls to have the superintendent of schools from Loudoun County resign because, remember, after that dad was dragged out, the dad of the daughter who was sexually molested, and we've seen the charges, and they are very graphic. We're not going to get into it.
You on a morning show.
No. Apparently he, the superintendent, sent out an email at the end of May and explained, hey, this happened, there was an assault in a bathroom and things like that. But then when that dad went to the school board and was dragged off and arrested and stuff like that, at that time, it was, you know, the superintendent said, oh, we had no idea. That was not accurate given the fact that the email showed that he knew all about it. And that's why there's so many people now saying that superintendent has got to go.
Right.
Can't trust him.
We're going to see if this is a national issue or a Loudoun County, Virginia issue.
It is.
And how many people are going to be taking action. It's going to be the teachers union versus the parents. That's what it is, because McAuliffe doubles down. He's speaking to the teachers union that supports every Democratic candidate. And when the parents speak up, they're not unified enough to speak politically. They're just speaking from the heart.
I just don't understand why these unions think that some of this material is appropriate for little children. Some of these books, if you read what some of these books say and teach in these counties in Virginia that are in our kids' libraries, or some of the videos that the kids up here are being shown in New York
But are you a soldier, Ainsley, as a teacher? Are you a soldier because they hand down the curriculum and you have to just find a way to teach it? And if you do have an objection, you quit.
The school board has been able to determine the curriculum for years, but now suddenly people, because of the pandemic, parents were watching what was going on. And that is why in my state of New Jersey, during this run-up to the gubernatorial election next Tuesday, I've had a dozen people come to my door. They're running for school board, and they tell me what is being taught in the schools. And it's the same stuff that is going on in the Commonwealth of Virginia. So this is a nationwide issue, and people are motivated. If you want to impact what is being taught in the school, get on the school board, and so many people are.
I just worry, Steve, you're going to get a little angry, and you'll realize on Sunday when they knock on your door, it's not about the school board, it's trick-or-treating. So just remember, school board Saturday, trick-or-treating Sunday.
You're the one who hates Halloween.
True.
I love Halloween. I bought 3 great big bags of...
So you like when kids come to your door?
Absolutely.
Really?
It's fun.
All right.
I have to get a picture of what my sister-in-law did. She, in front of my brother and my sister-in-law's house, I went to visit them in South Carolina. It is very scary. They have like 6 witches in a circle, like a seance, made out of trash bags. My sister-in-law made them. I have to get a picture. The boys love it, but I was like, please do not show my daughter this when we pull up. She would be scared. But then she ended up going out there and walking around it and playing it on Monday. On Sunday morning.
So Halloween is Sunday. In the meantime, time for some news with Jillian.
Who's also a Halloween lover.
You are?
Yes,
See,
I love Halloween.
I don't.
And
I mean,
not a witch.
It's fun, but I don't like the witches and the evil and all that stuff.
I've already started eating the candy.
Oh, yeah,
what's
your
remain
favorite?
Closed.
What's your favorite? Candy corn?
Milky Way, Kit Kat.
Snickers?
Reese's.
There's some in the green room.
Good to know.
Just remember to brush and floss.
Exactly. All right, we got to go. Let's begin with this story that we're following, because today we expect an update on the...
All right, meanwhile, thousands of migrants will be back on the move this morning, heading towards the United States, which I believe that's where we're located. Griff Jenkins is live in Mexico and tells us what he learned from the organizers of this new caravan. Plus, retired ICE Director Tom Homan here with some outrage. All right now, thousands of migrants are about to start their day, continue on their 5-day trek to our border. Griff Jenkins has been following the massive caravan. So, Griff, after a brief pause, where are you now?
Hey, Brian, I apologize. I think IFB may be breaking up a little bit here, but we're right in front of the caravan. They've just started marching from the town of Wheatsla. They made it 25 miles north of where they started after 4 days. This is the 5th day. They want to go 20 more miles. We'll see if they can do that. But now Mexico's foreign minister, Marcelo Ebrard, is speaking out, saying that these migrants are misled. They're not going to be successful. But just look how big this caravan is. You can see them carrying a cross there. They have every intention of getting to the U.S. And one of the things we've been trying to find out as we've been talking to the organizer, Ernesto Mujica, is who's paying for this? We asked Mr. Mujica that exact question. Here's what he told us. Listen.
I don't need my money when I'm on the road. You know, this is a way that they go. What happens. And a lot of times it is the people of goodwill, like the churches or other people that give them food. If not, they share each other. I don't know.
And so you can see now Mr. Mujica here leading this caravan. They are giving out, the Mexican government, pamphlets on how the migrants can best get through this journey, but we're going to keep monitoring it. One thing is for sure, they're not slowing down. They're about 3,000. Guys, send it back to you.
Wow, Griff, thanks so much. No one's covering this. I looked at the numbers, a zero every other network, and this is should be a #1 priority. Griff Jenkins, thanks so much. Joining us now, Fox News contributor, retired acting ICE Director Tom Homan. Tom, I wanted you to see that first. It doesn't surprise you, but it's one thing I noticed. Pretty well dressed, pretty well prepared. You got kids in strollers. You got people in wheelchairs. What's going on?
Well, there's an open borders, and they know there's open borders, and that's why they can keep coming, because there's no consequence. No deterrence. And they know, last year, the Biden administration has released 600,000 into the United States. And if you add the other 400,000 gotaways, that's 1 million illegal aliens now living in the United States that came across that border. And they know that. This administration's actions speak louder than the words.
They say that ICE arrests are down, as if there's not many illegal aliens committing crimes. Is that the case?
No, ICE has been decapitated. ICE can't do their job anymore. The latest memo that came out from the Secretary basically says it's no longer illegal to be illegal in the United States. They said being in the country illegally is not enough reason to be arrested by an immigration officer, so the arrests are way down.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
No, I haven't. And I noticed the other day that the chief patrol agent made a statement that he had tremendous concerns about the Texas DPS activities on the border. I mean, are you kidding me? I have a tremendous concern that he's still the chief. What has Texas DPS done? I wrote through down 150,000 illegal aliens arrested. 8,000 of them are criminals. 6,000 felons. They've had 844 car chases. They've seized 132 pounds of fentanyl that could have killed millions of people in the United States. They seized 373 firearms. And the chief patrol agent says he has tremendous concern. It's ridiculous. He ought to be having a press conference thanking the Texas DPS for helping him, bake him a cake or something. But to say he had tremendous concerns about the activities on the border is unconscionable.
Yeah, I want you to hear everyone to share with us the disdain for this statement. This is Raul Ortiz, U.S. Border Patrol chief, criticizing Governor Abbott. I really would prefer to see border security left to the border security experts. I want other agencies' help. I certainly need it at this time, but coordination has to happen. How dare he say that? You're doing nothing. You're allowing our Border Patrol to be trampled on, their reputation to be destroyed. They are outmanned, outnumbered. They're not allowed to do their job. You're not allowed to build a wall, and you're criticizing the only people doing anything. How does this guy sleep at night?
I don't know. Border security experts? Show me one. Show me a border security expert in this administration. It isn't the president, it isn't the border czar, Kamala Harris, it isn't the secretary, and it certainly ain't the chief. The only border security experts in the administration are the men and women wearing the green uniform standing on the front line that the chief does not allow to do their job. This administration don't let border patrol agents do their job. Border patrol stations are welcoming centers. They're not doing the job. If you want to fix the border, let those men and women do the job. There's two things he said that were false. He says that Texas DPS, their arrests are delaying. He don't know if the aliens are getting a chance to claim asylum. He knows that's a lie. Every time the Border Patrol every time the DPS finishes doing what they're doing with charging these people crimes, they get released an immigration officer so they can claim asylum. Right. Every one of them can claim asylum. He also says it's delaying their repatriations. You're damn right, because they're adding a consequence. Chief Ortiz needs to remember, the Border Patrol has a consequence delivery system, Operation Streamline. They prosecute numerous illegal aliens for entry, which would decrease the recidivism rate. So DPS is taking a page out of the Border Patrol handbook. He should know that. Operation Streamline started in Del Rio when he was assigned. It's ridiculous.
Because you know they know better. That makes it worse. Tom Homan, thanks so much. And if you're wondering why more people aren't talking about this important story, NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, MSNBC all have one thing in common: 0 minutes on this. Quick news, the President Freedom Fighter now come out in 5 days. Abraham Lincoln, Frederick Douglass, and the battle to save America's soul. Hope to see everyone day 1, November 3rd in Manhasset at Publicans, Barnes & Noble in Staten Island, my first visit, Lawrenceville, Georgia. I'll have to fly. November 5th, I'll see you at Books A Million. On the Lexington, Kentucky Books Festival, the 40th year, it's my first. And the Charleston Coliseum. Tickets still available in West Virginia. I believe Governor Justice will be joining me there. Hope to see you there, talking about all the war on history and how to win it. Meanwhile, this story. NBA player Enes Kanter doubling down in his criticism of Nike and China with a message on the court on his sneakers. Author Douglas Murray.
Good morning. We begin your headlines with a Fox News alert. An Illinois police officer is killed while approaching a vehicle he suspected of being stolen. Officer Tyler Timmons died after being taken to a hospital near St. Louis. The shooting suspect is now in custody. Timmons leaves behind a wife and daughter. A GoFundMe for his family says he served in law enforcement for 14 years. He was 36 years old. New research shows paying people to get vaccinated against COVID-19 doesn't really work. This, according to a study published in the National Bureau of Economic Research. In fact, the research shows it actually had the opposite effect. Back in July, President Biden told states to pay people $100 to get the jab. Look at this, people throwing punches and brawling at a dog show in Miami. A group of women reportedly started the chaos after they demanded refunds for the event. They became upset after their dogs did not win the contest. No injuries or arrests were reported. That is Look at Your Headline. Steve, I will send it to you.
You don't see that every day.
You do not.
All right. Thank you very much. We told you yesterday about Boston Celtics center Enes Kanter slamming Nike over its response to human rights abuses in the country of China.
Comes to China, Nike remains silent. You do not address police brutality in China. You do not say a word about the oppression of minorities in China.
He's talking about the Uyghurs there. Now the NBA star is doubling down, tweeting to the owner of Nike, Phil Knight, how about I book plane tickets for us and let's fly to China together. We can try to visit these slave labor camps and you can see it with your own eyes. Telling LeBron James and Michael Jordan, you're welcome to come along too. Author Douglas Murray joins us right now. Douglas, what do you make about this?
This is an amazing story and a great sign of hope that a star of Kanter's caliber should actually blow the whistle on one of the human rights outrages of our day. You know, every era in history does things and allows things to happen that future generations look back on with just horror. It's the same with our generation. Obviously, our generation looks at the past and just says, how on earth could they do that? I would bet anything that generations after this one would think, how was it possible in America that all these major corporations like Nike went around lecturing the American people about non-existent problems in America or very, very minor issues in America, and all the while were making their products in the Communist Party of China's fiefdom, all the while allegedly with slave labor and much more doing the work. It's one of the absolute outrages of our day. Most people allow it to just slide by, and I'm just so full of admiration for Mr. Cantor for not allowing that to happen.
Douglas, I wonder how many Nike products are in those container ships off the ports of LA and Long Beach, because you know, given the supply chain issues that we've had over the last number of months, why wouldn't the official uniforms and whatnot of the National Basketball Association be made in the United States of America? Let's make more stuff here, and we don't have to worry about that.
Absolutely. You know, as I say, the NBA, like Nike and all these people, you know, they all lecture us. They all lecture us on a daily basis about their woke credentials. But it's jobs that they've always been taking out of America, outsourcing to China, outsourcing to the worst possible sources in China. And here's the other kicker to this. It's not just that they've taken jobs out of America whilst lecturing Americans. It's that they've given power to the Communist Party of China's authority. Right. You see, just since this happened, since Mr. Cantor started to criticize this, Chinese state media has gone blank on the Celtics games that they're meant to be broadcasting. They've decided not to do it. Now, this is a deal. This is a deal with the NBA worth $1.5 billion. Right. So when Enes Kanter speaks up on this, it's the sort of thing that's going to cost the NBA a lot of money, potentially. Sure. But this is the problem. The CCP has everybody over this barrel, and it's time that we weren't over that barrel. It's time America wasn't. Everybody, from a basketball player to anyone else who can speak up, should do. We've got to reverse this.
Let's see if Phil Knight from Nike responds, because all eyes are on him. It's in his court now. Douglas Murray, thank you very much for joining us live.
Great pleasure.
You bet. All right. Meanwhile, our Attorney General Merrick Garland promised the FBI would not be mobile.
Welcome back to Alexandra Palace, where it's now time for an exhibition. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, Mark Allen to break. Foul and a miss. Judd Trump, 4.
He's elected to play on here.
He'll want to get this cue ball close to the cushion. One.
This is no gimme.
Judd Trump, 1. Well, he's taking the red on.
He'll be disappointed with that.
1. Pace is absolutely critical here. Foul on the yellow. Foul and a miss. Mark Allen, 1. Judd Trump, 7. He's chosen to play on here. This is a tricky one along the cushion. 1. Careless. Judd Trump, 1.